Welcome. I'm Karyn Greer, morning anchor with CBS 46, and you're watching the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young debate series. This is the primary election debate for Democratic candidates in Georgia's 9th Congressional District. In order to ensure everyone's safety, we are all participating from separate locations. Now, the Atlanta Press Club gives a special thank you to our broadcast partner, Georgia Public Television, Georgia Public Broadcasting, I should say, for helping to organize this very, very difficult debate series as we are ensuring that you have this video debate in front of you. Let's meet our candidates right now. They are in alphabetical order. Devin Pandy was a logistics specialist in the Army. He later became an actor, appearing in local theater and television. Brooke Siskin worked with the advocacy group Go Gwinnett and is a former sales representative with Comcast. And Dan Wilson has been a minister for 40 years. And I'm joined by my co-anchor and actually news director for North Georgia, WDUN Radio, access WDUN.com. Let's get started right now. Please note the candidates will have 60 seconds to answer their questions, 30 seconds to respond to rebuttals. And for the full set of rules, all you have to do is visit the Atlanta Press Club website, atlantapressclub.org. All right, we're going to start the debate with each candidate being asked one question. Mitch, you get to ask the first question of Brooke Siskin.
Thank you, Karyn. Ms. Siskin, we're all very much aware that the news has been dominated lately by the coronavirus pandemic. How would you rate the job Congress has done handling this crisis, and what specifically would you propose that Congress do if you were serving at this time?
Well, and by the way, thank you again for having me on this program. I think that they are doing an okay job. I'm glad they passed the $424 billion stimulus bill to help out the crisis. And if I were in Congress, I would definitely pass more funding, especially when it comes to a stimulus package right now. I don't believe that $1,200 is exactly what we all need. I believe we also need more help for small businesses, and our unemployment benefits need to be higher as well.
All right, thank you so much. I'll ask a question now to Dan Wilson. Dan Wilson, as a minister for the past 40 years, how would you say you are prepared to handle the role as congressman for the 9th District?
One of the things a minister has to focus on is being able to listen to different points of view and bring people together in consensus. One of the problems I see with the 9th District is that we've regressed to a level of name calling, blame placing, and scapegoating, which has kept us from working together. This is destructive to democracy, and it absolutely has to change.
All right, and I want to make sure to remind the candidates, please mute your mics when you are not on, because we are getting some feedback. I know this is a different and difficult time for all of us as we are doing these debates quite differently as you're used to. All right, Mitch, you get the final question for Devin Pandy right now.
Mr. Pandy, you have said that making health care affordable is one of your key issues, but how specifically would you go about making that happen? And perhaps as importantly, how would you pay for it?
Well, thank you, Mitch, for that very important question and for hosting today's debate. For those who don't know me, my name is Devin Pandy. I am proud of three things. I'm a 21-year military veteran. I'm engaged to a terrific woman, and I am a proud North Georgia Democrat. Now, to answer your question, for me, healthcare, universal healthcare starts with providing everyone in America healthcare, and that not only that, but also allowing them to have a choice of their optional private insurance if they would like that as well. I believe that those things should go hand by hand so that everyone has a choice for the healthcare that suits them and their families.
All right, that concludes the first part of our debate. Thank you very much, candidates. The candidates will now ask a question to an opponent of their choice. Candidates, you'll have 30 seconds to ask your question, 60 seconds to respond, and 30 seconds for rebuttal. Once again, it is important to mute your mics when you are not speaking. All right, by random selection, Dan Wilson, you may get the first question to an opponent of your choice.
Okay, Devin, I have already indicated that what I want to be able to do is listen to different points of view. I'd like for you to help me understand a position that you stated in our last forum where you indicated that you were not in favor of Medicaid expansion. That was shocking to me, but I'd like to just hear you explain your reasoning behind that.
It was a little difficult to hear you, but if what I understand, you're asking why I said that I would not be in favor of Medicaid expansion. Is that correct? Well, that's not true. You must have misheard me. I am definitely in. There are 450,000 people right now that could be covered by expansion of Medicaid by just a signature from Governor Kemp. So yes, I am absolutely in favor of Medicaid expansion.
Rebuttal from Mr. Wilson. We cannot hear you, Mike.
What you referenced, Devin, is you said you had spoken to hospital administrators and that they were against Medicaid expansion. Now, perhaps you misspoke, but that was what was indicated. What I'm hearing you say now is that's not your position.
Yes, that is not the case.
All right. Well, Devin, you now can ask a question to a candidate of your choice.
Okay. My question is for Ms. Siskin. I'm wondering, so me, myself, I'm a transplant to District 9. I've had plans to move here for a very long time, and it didn't happen until the beginning of this year. I actually had to change my plans on where I was going to live because I decided to run. So instead of moving to Athens, to Danielville, actually, I decided to move to Commerce to be more central. However, you do not live in the district, and I'm just wondering how you feel you can, how are you qualified to represent the 9th? And
Okay, Devin. I actually just moved to the Gainesville area, Hall County, and I plan on staying here. I know very well of the 9th. I know about, the agriculture, the commerce that's in this part of the state. And I know the people. I already know some of the people that live in this part of the state. So, like I said, I want to represent this area because of the difference of people and the difference of the culture and the difference of the industry. So I feel like I can best represent this area. And now being here, I will get to know as many people as I can in the district to let them know about me and where my stand on the issues.
Devin, Pandy, do you have a rebuttal there?
yes, I just like to say that there are many people who are transplants who retire here, who move here after retiring from the military or from their lifelong careers. And so you are very welcome. And thank you for taking an interest in the 9th. It is a beautiful part of the nation, beautiful part of the state, and you are very welcome.
All right, Brooke Siskin, you have the final question in this round.
Okay, I would like to ask Devin, since he is I believe a former military person, what programs would you pass in Congress to help the homeless veterans or disabled citizens in this country?
That is a great question. So while I don't have specific legislation to put forth right now, that is definitely one of my larger concerns. As a vet who visits I get my healthcare through the VA. I know that the healthcare quality is not the same everywhere. I used to travel over an hour and a half to go to my VA because I didn't trust the VA that was closest to me, and that no veteran should have to do that. Every VA across the board should be ready and able to assist and help in the healthcare needs of every single veteran.
Brooke Siskin, would you like to rebut that?
Well, I would like to know, Devin, what specific programs or bills you would pass for our homeless veteran citizens that are coming back from wars, that are disabled and not getting the funding through Congress or through any aid.
Yes. So asking about specific legislation right now, I think is putting the cart a little ahead of the horse. I would need to pull together. I am a veteran, yes. So I have a specific individual experience. However, I do not know everything that is going on at the VA, at the national level, at the state levels. So I will need to bring in experts who do know those things. I will be the first to tell you, I don't know everything, but I know how to pull people together to get to accomplish the mission. And that's exactly what I would do.
All right, that is the end of the second round. I want to remind everyone, please mute your mics. You're doing a great job. So proud of everyone as we are all learning together to change the way we handle these debates. So we are going to move on to the next round. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone who's just starting to join us. And you're tuning in. This is the debate for the Democratic candidates in Georgia's 9th Congressional District. Mitch, Clarke, and I will now continue to question the candidates until we run out of time. And then we'll determine when a rebuttal is, appropriate at this point. And you can raise your hand if you have something to add, if you feel you really should get a rebuttal. So we will be watching the monitors very closely. I will take the first question in this round. And I would like to know, just as I'm listening to all of you, Brooke would like to begin with you. We know this district is very heavily Republican. What makes you think that a Democrat is poised to come in and, as we say, upset the apple cart in this district? What makes you that candidate that can do that?
Thank you, Karyn. I believe that I'm the candidate because I've been able to cross over with several different groups of people. I don't look at party, I look at the issues. And the issues that affect us all in the 9th District are not Republican or Democrat. They are issues, mainly social issues, maybe issues that have to do with our daily living. I myself am a single mother who is a disabled person who lives on an income, and I'm trying to make it in this district. And I believe this district is made up of people like myself, as well as protecting myself with others. I believe in that. I'm also a victim of domestic violence. And I believe that having those opportunities is what most of the women and men in this district are also facing. So coming forth with programs and working with them and talking to everybody, I have no problem talking to a Republican or Democrat because I think they don't see the world through two parties. I think they see it through issues. And that's what I plan on doing, is supporting them as well.
All right, thank you very much, Mitch. And you can turn your mic off. Thank you, Brooke. And Mitch, it is your turn to ask a candidate a question.
All right, I'll ask this question of Dan Wilson. Mr. Wilson, a few counties in the 9th District, particularly Hall County, have significant populations of illegal immigrants. And local officials often say that these populations often tax law enforcement and healthcare and other services. What type of reforms do you think Congress should enact to address this issue?
Thank you, Mitch. That's a great question. There are several things that we could do to address this. I'm in favor of comprehensive immigration reform. However, I also understand the political realities of getting that accomplished in our current polarization. So there's some piecemeal things we could do. Nick Mulvaney admitted a few weeks ago that the current economy, this was prior to the pandemic, that the current economy cannot be sustained with the level of immigrants that we're bringing in. His argument was we're not bringing enough. If you look at the guest visa worker program, HB1, HB2, we're finding that, and this again was before the pandemic, we're getting only 20% of the documented workers that we need. I would argue from my conversations with business people, restaurateurs, and merchants, they are saying that they don't have enough immigrants coming in to fill the jobs. They say the immigrants work harder, they show up for work, they don't take sick leave, and they're generally more skilled than the other workers that they're finding. So the short answer would be to say we can increase legal immigration and take care of some of the economic stress. for being called.
Dan, we are out of time. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to look at your screens, I am trying to give you a silent cue, but if you don't have it, I will end up interrupting a little bit. So thank you so much. Devin, want to move on to you and ask you a very similar question. What is that you think can be done differently to change the way things are going in the 9th District? Illegal, we've got undocumented workers. What would you do to change that in the district?
Thank you, Karyn, for that question. This is a very important issue with undocumented immigrants. So right now, there are undocumented immigrants that are working for the poultry plants in the 9th, and they are, whether they are non-legal residents or not, they are the backbone of the poultry business in this region. And so we need to make sure that those meatpacking plants are being given the proper PPE, because they're still going to work. We need to make sure that they're given proper PPE, that they are paid the wages that they deserve, that they are allowed to get paid leave. And the one thing that we need to make sure is that there is 100% testing in these plants. We now know that 50% of positive cases are asymptomatic. We need tests.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's move on. Mitch, your turn to question a candidate.
I'll ask Brooke this question. Some Democrats have been pushing for a $15 an hour minimum wage. Critics say that will hurt small businesses. It will hurt their already narrow profit margins. What can you do, or what will you say you will do to help lower income Americans while also protecting mom and pop businesses?
I appreciate that question. This is near and dear to my heart because I was a small business owner with 2 small businesses, and having to make my bottom line was very, very near and dear to me, because we need to have a $15 minimum wage. Our cost of living is skyrocketed. And by doing that, we can also offer options of health care, which a lot of companies aren't allowed to do because their bottom line means they can't afford it. So I would definitely push for the $15 minimum wage. Also, you'll get more skilled workers out of it and more dedicated workers to a business. You won't have a lot of job hopping and people moving from one business to another, and they will stay, and loyalty will be very much appreciated.
All right, thank you so much. Dan Wilson, this question for you, and Brooke, could you, catch your mic for me? I want to talk about spending, and it appears you all are really being outspent by the Republicans also seeking this nomination. How do you plan to get into your district and let people know the facts, what you want to run on, what's important to you when you really don't have the money that the other candidates have?
Thank you for the question. I think Karyn, you and Mitch just need to do this on a regular basis for the candidates. Make sure that we can get the message out. Seriously, this is a challenge. I ran initially when I was making my decision to run. I was basing it on the fact that one of my strengths is the ability to meet people face to face, be in forums where we're hearing all different kinds of viewpoints and build a consensus. This medium is tough. And one of the things I'm hearing from not only candidates, but just regular citizens is we're feeling more and more disconnected with each other. So it is a real challenge to campaign this way. Also, with 30 million jobs lost, I think was the last figure I saw, people are more and more reluctant now to part with their hard-earned dollars. So we have some methods. I don't want to tell my other 2 candidates exactly what we're doing, but we're trying to get around all of that. But it is a huge challenge.
All right, thank you so much, Mitch.
I'll ask this question of Devin. Our recent experience with a lot of school students doing school from home has shown a disparity across the state when it comes to internet access, particularly broadband internet access. What would you do to improve access to the internet in poor areas of the district and in rural areas of the district? Devin, you need to unmute your mic.
Thank you. Like you said, we're all trying to get used to this. So The first thing that needs to happen is that broadband access needs to be brought to rural Georgia. Absolutely. Second thing that needs to happen is that we need to have more than just one service provider. The third thing that needs to happen is that broadband internet needs to be offered as a utility, right along with your gas, electric, and water. It needs to be a utility, it needs to be high speed, and it needs to be available to every single resident of rural Georgia.
All right. Thank you so much. You can mute again, Devin. And Brooke, this next question's for you. Let's talk about things are definitely changing in our world and how we're handling things. This coronavirus pandemic really changing the way people, as you say, you're getting out to campaign. You're not allowed to really have these forums of large groups. Talk about what you see as the future, how you think you would be able to change things for the better, because we won't be in our new normal. Schools will be different, work will be different. People need jobs in your area. What is your plan?
Well, yes, this has been kind of difficult since I'm a kind of a people person to get out into the community and meet people and talk to them and hear what their issues are. So yeah, it is a new normal. And so, we have to think differently. We have to think out of the box. So what can we do to provide new opportunities to people living in the 9th District? Well, we have a great amount of natural resources with our agriculture and what we can produce in the state of Georgia. We're not doing enough of that. As far as healthy living with natural foods and foods grown in Georgia, those are the things we talk about that we need to talk about more. And as well as economy, we were bringing a new economy to the state. So these are the things I'm looking at and doing as you're being your next congresswoman.
All right, thank you so much. And it looks like we've just got seconds left in this part of our debate, so we are going to move on. Thank you so much, everybody. Dan, I met Mitch. I thought I was going to get a chance to get you into another question there.
That's right.
So we want to thank the press club, thank everyone as we move into our next part of our debates, and that means we are going to have time for our candidates to actually give us, and let me make sure I am on the correct part, our closing statements. Remind everybody, we would like to, Election Day is coming up. It is Tuesday, June 9th. So we would like the candidates to give us 60 seconds for a closing statement. And we're going to begin with Devin. You have the first one.
Thank you, Karyn and Mitch. Again, I really appreciate this opportunity. I just want to say that I retired from the military after 21 years. I took a few years off to travel the world and dabble in the arts, but the call to serve my country has always remained strong. I believe that my background, which includes working in a team as a young soldier, planning missions, balancing budgets, and overseeing the education, training, and welfare of subordinate soldiers as a non-commissioned officer, and advising commanders on the battlefields of Iraq, Kuwait, and Afghanistan while maintaining satellite communication systems as a warrant officer, often under enemy fire, has left me uniquely equipped to deal with the ruthless politics of Washington, all while maintaining my personal courage. I am compelled to continue my oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, champion progress for rural Georgia, and restore honor and integrity to Congress. My name is Devin Pandy, and I am running for United States House of Representatives to represent the people of the mighty Ninth.
All right, Dan Wilson, you have now 60 seconds for your closing statement.
So as a minister, there's some things I can draw from Scripture. St. Paul, when he was writing to the church at Corinth, he loved Corinth. He did most of his writing to that church. He did that because it was a cosmopolitan city. It had not one but two harbors that bordered on two different seas. It was a crossroads in which there were many immigrants who came, different religions, backgrounds, socioeconomic persuasions, philosophies, religions. And one of the things he talked about constantly is that if you have this diverse cosmopolitan society, you have to be careful. And he said, beware lest you use your personal liberty as an occasion to devour one another. When we see people with AR-15s and flak jackets storming state capitals, we have to say, look, there is a point here where we need to govern and govern responsibly as mature adults. Republicans have advocated that responsibility. And like teenagers who cross the line, we need to take the keys of the car away from them. They don't care about government. They don't care about governing.
Thank you so much, Dan Wilson. Brooke Siskin, you get the final closing statement.
Thank you, and I appreciate the press club for inviting me here and speaking about the issues today. As many of you know, I have just moved to the Congressional 9th District recently, but I'm not new to the problems. I'm a single mother with a disability who is struggling to make it on her own, a woman who decided to take a chance and represent the great constituents of the 9th District. Most like the residents that make up this district, I'm a single mother trying to make it in this world, and I'm looking for an opportunity and to lend a voice in our United States Congress. Now more than ever, with universal health care, a decent wage, affordable housing, and social programs are happening in Washington, and not the misrepresentation that occupies our nation's Capitol building and hurts our tax-paying citizens every day. Please check that box for me on June 9th. I won't let you down. Again and again, thank you, and thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you so much, Mitch. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been great working with you. And that does conclude our debate. We'd like to remind voters, as we just heard, Election Day, Tuesday, June 9th. Early voting begins May 18th. We want to thank all of you, all of our candidates, for joining us in this very different type of debate. And Mitch, you've been wonderful for assisting in making this happen.
Thank you so
I'd
much.
also like to thank the Atlanta Press Club and Georgia Public Broadcasting for arranging today's debate. I've been doing these for many years now. This is the first time we've had to do it this way because of this coronavirus pandemic, and they've done a marvelous job of making this happen and giving all of the residents of Georgia an opportunity to see the candidates. For information on the full schedule of primary election debates, visit atlantapressclub.org. This debate will be archived there on Georgia Public Broadcasting. I'm Karyn Greer. Thank you so much for joining us. Atlanta Press Club, Loudermilk Young Debate Series.